I'm pretty sure that if we would ever have a DreamHack Masters NA without an hour-long game between Scarlett and Neeb, the internet would break or something like that. It just has to happen, whether it's
part of the
group
contract,
stage.
actually.
Yeah, exactly. They're forced. Shopify was like, Scarlett, we'd love to have you on board. We cannot give you any lights, but what we can make sure of is that you get a 1-hour game with Neeb. Otherwise, we'll be really upset. We know that Scarlett is not following this up with units immediately, so that's nothing to worry about for Astrea. But it's a great point you make there. For a while, I was like struggling in my own PvZs. I'm like, why the hell? It's like harder to take a Nexus the 5-minute mark than it is the 405. Like I was getting pissed off. I was like, it's because I've got no HP on that thing. And then when the units show up, it's so easy for Zerglings to just break through. Scarlett is firing up 5 Overlords here though. And the Queen's already in the center. The Void Ray, Astrea, no. That's not how you want to lose your Void Ray, mate.
Yeah, well, those Overlords are finishing up for the Roaches to be started on up. The Lings are actually doing a nice little counterattack. They're going to be able to go after the pylon and potentially start harassing that Nexus. And they don't even need to really be controlled right now. So Scarlett can focus all of her attention on right-clicking down individual Adepts. I love the focus fire over here from Scarlett, but looks like Astrea is going to be able to pick off one of those Queens. A shade straight into the Roaches and Lings, though. Oh, this is just not going how I'm sure Astrea pictured.
Nope, and let's not forget that we lost a Void Ray, so that means that it's going to be a lot harder to defend against Roaches at home. And I don't think Scarlett is going to stop producing units. Scarlett is holding down the Zergling button at this point. +1 missile attacks is halfway done. The Queens are already making their journey, or, well, starting their journey in the center of the map. It takes a little while. Scarlett's got 52 army supply. Astrea has only 18. I think it's absolutely impossible to defend on 3 bases, but it might even be impossible to defend on 2 bases.
Oh, Kev, I mean, imagine how bad this situation is, knowing also that the Zerglings killing that pylon means that instead of building or having finished the shield batteries right now, the shield batteries are just getting started because there was no pylon to build the shield batteries with. And now we end up seeing sentries starting to get taken out by the Zerglings and the Roaches. There's 2 sentries left over to buy some time, but frankly, Scarlett can just go for the 3rd base, rally some more units forward, and then deal with this army in the natural afterwards.
Oh, look at how exposed the probes are. The Corrosive Bow on the money. Well done by Scarlett. 15 workers going down. And these force fields are actually going to prevent these Protoss units from making it safely into the back of the natural. Scarlett is going to target down that overcharged battery. And I think this is just going to be it. Scarlett may very well be looking at an 8-game win streak here in the playoffs and taking the 2-0 lead. Astrea just has no battle units whatsoever.
I mean, Astrea is just trying to contend with the Queens with his entire army, while the rest of the army is killing off his 3rd base. This is definitely not looking to be a good spot for Astrea, and I don't just mean in this game, I mean in this series. This is already Scarlett up 1-0. Losing another one of these games means going down to match point, and Astrea is really struggling. Lings are going to eventually get that kill, and Scarlett is just proudly and boldly charging on into that natural, the Protoss, ready to claim yet another victory here.
Yeah, one thing that I think is very cool is that Astrea just knew way in advance he was going to lose his cyber core, so he already rebuilt it way before it even died, and now it died. That's awesome and all, but it's not going to make a difference here because a couple of Stalkers are not going to stop this Zerg army. Scarlett is just kind of dancing at this point in the natural. Astrea, out of desperation, is just going to fire up an Oracle because he wants to spend his money one way or the other. Scarlett is on 4 bases, 57 drones, going to make a few drones behind this. This is an unstoppable Zerg force, and even if it does get cleaned up, this Nexus will go down too. I've never seen a 1-base Protoss win against a 4-base Zerg.
It's been a very long time since I've seen that happen, even in my league. But yeah, it looks like Astrea's going to hold out, maybe just giving himself some time to just kind of think about what he wants to do the next game. And maybe even just looking for the moral victory here. Like, you get the cleanup and then you tap out. At least you feel like you accomplished something this game.
I don't know, man. Being stuck on 1 base, I don't know if he's going to rebuild, but he will tap out in the end.
Here we go again, Kev. We got another Stargate coming on out over here with the Adept getting started on up, but it is the follow-up that I'm going to be looking for. Is he just going to throw down another Twilight Council? Is he sticking to his game plan here?
First Oracle's heading towards the main base by the looks of it. With 2 Queens, Scarlett is going to be more than fine in dealing with this. So the Oracle's going to change his course to the natural. But Scarlett is just playing an awesome series so far. She's really not making any mistakes, even saving that drone. Can we save the other one too? Yes, we can. Wow. Scarlett is so on point. It's actually, I'm really impressed so far by what Scarlett is showing us.
Yeah, it's not even that she's doing anything absolutely extraordinary. She's just playing everything super duper solid. It's just all of the basics. Even doing a great job saying, okay, well, I had a few more drones being built at the natural. She just canceled those and built them somewhere else because they just got started. Really, really nice, just clean play from Scarlett right now.
Yep. Twilight Council and a Forge going down in the main base of Astrea as the adept count is currently 2. Seems like Astrea is looking for a little wombo combo here with maybe either the adepts or the oracles finding some damage. It's one or the other. This shade will finish off. These adepts don't have resonating glaives. Perfect surround by Scarlett as well. That's going to allow her to take them out real quick. And the oracles in the main base, they also get deflected by the queens. Astrea finding 3 drones there, but I still feel that Scarlett handled this very well too.
But Scarlett is adding on that infestation pit and also moving across the map to try and threaten that 4th base.
Yep, I don't think it's real. I think we're gonna fire up some swarmos, right? It has to be. Scarlett just made 13 additional roaches right when the infestation pit finished up, but wow, 18 roaches. Okay, what? So we made an infestation pit, but we're just gonna make 1,000,000 roaches in the ravages. And there we have our first 2 swarmos. Kind of an odd moment to make all those roaches, but roaches are very good against zealots, and they're pretty decent against archons too. Depends a little bit on the surface area they can find. Now more swarmos are coming up behind all of this. Astrea is terribly out of position to deal with this army, or maybe actually able to get on top of the queens, but the zealot number's not quite there yet to take out these queens.
Yeah, the archons on their own will only be able to buy so much time. Scarlett, you know, making all those roaches instead of the swarmos did seem like it was going to be a little bit dicey, but she is absolutely making the most of them. Now forcing herself into a position that is going to be potentially advantageous, but heavily committed right now. A lot of these roaches and ravagers are not going to have an easy time escaping. Immortal really going to be packing a punch. Crucible is hitting her own roaches over there, and the zealots eventually get cleaned up. Even a couple of the queens joining the fray. Another archon gets popped. And I think that now, yeah, Scarlett can just pull back a little bit, regroup with some of the rest of her army, and then try to maybe just settle for the damage over at the 4th base that she did.
Yeah, if Astrea just spends his money, it's not all that bad. Obviously, the queens can't escape, so Astrea is going to get on top of these queens and just buying yourself some time. When you go up against a basic unit comp like roaches and swarmos can already be good enough. Careful with the oracle in the bottom right side. Astrea, not quite careful enough. Flies into 2 queens. Scarlett's even dropping a Nidus network. Obviously, that's something that works very well together with the swarmos.
Yeah, I think, and the oracle is actually very good for helping deal with that kind of stuff and just having a bit of vision out on the map, especially when it's just, you know, only ground units that can only attack ground units. There's nothing in the air. Now, disruptors have an opportunity to get some big damage done, but a first shot is not going to accomplish a whole lot, and the swarmos dive on in. Shield battery is going to help keep one of the cannons alive for a little bit, but now some of the probes are going to start falling, and Astrea just doesn't have anything inside the natural expansion. He's busy cleaning up the swarmos. Scarlett even splitting up between the main and the natural. A recall being forced out. Scarlett is just really putting on a clinic in this series, Kev.
Yep, Scarlett is running over Astrea. That's the only way we can really put it. Roaches in the main base, roaches in the natural. Astrea did take care of the main. This obviously means he's a bit out of position. Overcharged battery is going to help out a little bit at the 3rd base. We've already lost 17 probes, and I'm afraid a few more probes are going to fall. Astrea is making the best of it. Can the overcharged battery keep the Nexus alive? No, it expires. This Nexus is absolutely gonna fall. Astrea does have that Nexus in the top left, so we don't lose too many additional probes. Maybe Astrea can find a moment to transfer these workers towards the top left. And geez Louise, is Scarlett putting on a clinic indeed. But maybe Astrea's still got a chance. He's got an army. He's got a base.
He has 81 army supply, and he has some very, very cost-efficient units when they can get the good hits. Those disruptors can be playmakers, but I mean, Kev, this is the really, really difficult and frustrating conundrum about facing off against swarm hosts. When do you feel safe moving out? Because as soon as you do, you know that those swarm hosts are going to unleash a massive wave of locusts into your main, and yeah, you're going to do some damage, but now you have to do more damage than your opponent does. You have to go fully all in. The Zealot Warpin is actually really cleaning house on a lot of those Zerglings, and now the Stalkers start moving on in. Can Astrea make this work?
The Forge gets some power. It's a no +3. Good Nova, though, connecting with a couple of the Ravages. Don't want to be too dramatic, but it really does feel it's now or never for Astrea. If this army dies, I'm afraid that his run is going to end as he lands another good Nova, but the Stalkers are just not that great against Zerglings. One more Nova clips a Ravager though, whereas Scarlett her reinforcements. Only 4 Roaches left. Can this army possibly win the game, Fear Dragon?
Oh, the Locust Wave is going to be the really difficult thing to deal with. We have a couple of the Disruptor shots going off, but they are not in time. Actually, they expire a little bit too early to go off on any of the Locusts, and now it's just the Stalkers and the Immortal left over to try and win the game.
And the Zealots in the main. Don't forget about the Zealots in the main base. And now since the Swarmos have just fired, I'm starting to believe that Astrea is making the almost impossible happen. He could cancel +3 on the fort. I mean, I know that's not something you think of right now, but that's a lot of resources tied up in that +3, or just repower it. But yeah, these Swarmos can't do anything if the Locusts are not ready.
Oh my God!
Gets a point on the board. My goodness, these 12 links are really early. Make it 16 links. Make it 26 links. Okay. What? The drones are being pulled too? What the hell? Scarlett is going full rogue on us.
Yeah, so the idea for those who haven't seen this before, you mineral walk those drones into the adept that's walling off. And then when you actually are halfway through into the adept, you hold position and move around.
Can we wall off? A wall off would be amazing. Astrea should pull all the probes. Or yeah, the shield barrier isn't here yet, but the Oracle is. Pulsar beam is going to be fantastic here. Can the probes keep the Zerglings at bay? Can they hold the line? No, they cannot hold the line. And that means the floodgates are open, and that means it's going to be difficult. But obviously Scarlett is very committed here. What are we going to do with the probes? You need to send them to the natural.
Yeah, sends him over to the natural. The Stargate is about to pop out another one of these oracles. Tries to go for a wall-in with a pylon, as well as actually trying to add on a forge. Shield battery just gets canceled. Actually, a bunch of buildings get canceled, so they can afford to warp in 2 more adepts. The next oracle ends up popping on out, but since he canceled the wall, more Zerglings come streaming on in, Kev.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that decision. I mean, the Oracles are going to run out of juice. There are more Zerglings dancing in the natural of Astrea. He's trying to do his best, trying to micro his probes as well as he can. Waiting. Oh my goodness, if he would have opened up with a Void Ray, right? Imagine a Void Ray having some constant DPS. Only 7 probes left, 6 probes left, 5, make it 4. And Scarlett, her rush has been an incredible success.
What a way to go out.